So I had a lot of fun with the last video. It was the Wholesome Stories video, which is the very first kind of Reddit reading type thing that I've ever done. But it was fun and I want to do it again. But if you want to get in on the ground floor of this adventure, why not head over to the Discord where you can submit your own stories in the Tabletop Tales forum. My name is DastardlyD and let's get funky. I don't know if that's going to be a thing. I'm trying it out. Today we're going to be reading your funniest D&D story. I personally love a good bit of comedy in my games. I think it's a great way to balance out all of the cosmic Lovecraftian horror that I tend to put into my games. So a little bit of comedy here and there is a brilliant way to relieve that stress and make everybody kind of take that deep breath and stop being so stressed about the dragon that's filled with ants. First story by Rin V1. It's not clever or anything, but it was one of the funniest moments we have had in our current campaign so far. The players were camped out in the woods at night, resting up by a bonfire in a small opening in the trees. Before everyone went to sleep, two of the group, a bard and a sorcerer, were practicing with their musical instruments. The bard was teaching the sorcerer how to use the bagpipes. Don't ask. Because the bagpipes are a loud instrument and because it was taking a lot of the sorcerer's concentration to play it, focus on his surroundings was very limited. So while this is happening, a group of bandits hears the noise and sneaks their way towards them, with the plan to jump them and steal their stuff. But the wood elf of the group spots them and lets some of the others know about the bandits approaching. Deciding to let the sorcerer continue practicing, the bard turns to help the others engage the bandits, while throwing the occasional word of encouragement towards the sorcerer to keep him practicing. Good job, buddy. So the battle starts and everyone rolls initiative. I tell the sorcerer to make a perception check with disadvantage, which he fails, and so he continues to play the bagpipes. As arrows and spells fly and swords clang in the distance, each round the sorcerer makes his perception check to see if he notices anything beyond his bagpipes. But alas, his concentration on the pipes is so focused, he even fails to see an arrow fly through the bonfire, causing it to catch fire and flare up as it whizzes past him. After a few rounds, the group defeats the bandits, causing them to flee, and the sorcerer is none the wiser. The bardie did not tell him what happened, and he went to sleep satisfied with his undisturbed practice session. During the fight, we all wanted the sorcerer player to fail his rolls, and thankfully, even when he had advantage, he rolled low throughout. We were all in stitches as each round unfolded. I could genuinely see this in some sort of sketch comedy show. This is really good. I really enjoy it. Kind of gives me slapstick Mr. Bean kind of being completely oblivious to everything that's going on around him. It sounds really fun as well. It sounds like, actually, as Fusion 8 says, it sounds like some good old-fashioned fun, and I agree. This is by FantasticMisterFlox. Our party found this huge gem, like 500 pounds huge, which the Warlock wanted to use as a spell casting focus. None of us could lift it, let alone carry it the 10 days back to our fort. So we deliberate and devise a plan. We pry the gem out and manage to get it upright, rolling it towards an arcane gate the Warlock had set up. The arcane gate led 500 feet outside to a space right above a tree where the druid was sitting, ready to cast Tree Stride. We push the gem through and the druid casts his spell. The gem drops out of the arcane gate, fades into the tree and slams out of another tree in the grove within the fort walls. Holy fuck, that's smart. Our cleric then messages her follower at the fort to make sure that everyone was okay and we didn't, crush anyone. Confirming no harm was done, she messages again to have the guards carry this ginormous gem to the Warlock's arcane lab, which is at the top of the highest tower. I mean, yeah, it's the punchline at the end. That's fantastic. But like in general, that whole thing was like genius teamwork. Honestly, really impressed. That's such a good way to use everybody's kind of powers for one kind of like very simple common goal. So that's really cool. I feel really bad for the for your minions though. I hope they're okay. Next by Caritas1234. We were a party of all full casters at the time and had to break into the Sultan's castle to expose and exorcise a group of demons that had corrupted and taken over the city. This was an extremely high magic, high fantasy campaign, and the four of us were kitted to the teeth in magical swag and knickknacks. The DM had originally thought we would storm the gates and battle our way into the castle and eventually reach the top floor. We, however, decided we would do something different. The Warlock had been gifted by his patron a magic item that let him and anything he willingly took with him to momentarily switch from being in the material plane to the Feywild. So we grabbed our magic broomsticks, held onto the Warlock, and flew straight into and through the wall of the keep, popped into the Feywild and back back out again, exiting inside the Sultan's chambers, where we were greeted by a very surprised and very unhappy Rakshasa. One of those will do. Being a full caster party, we looked at the anti-magical tiger standing in front of us and collectively said, "Oh shit!" as we didn't have anything higher than 6th level magic. So, combat started, and it's a group of nerds who've just realised they can't magic away this problem, versus the quite possible worst opponent we could have matched up against. A few turns of us taking dodge actions and avoiding him while thinking go by. And myself, sorcerer, and the wizard have an idea. If we can't hurt him with magic, we won't use magic to hurt him. We took out our small collection of magic items, dumped them onto the floor in the middle of the chamber, and started casting animate objects and twin casting catapult. Our DM saw our logic in that while the items are technically being controlled by spells of 6th level or lower to cause the damage, the magic items themselves hitting him are the cause. So he laughed and said, "Good job, you found a working strategy." We then proceeded to spend multiple turns of myself and the wizard throwing anything magical we could at the Rakshasa from our belongings, while the Warlock and the Bard fed us ammo and threw out defensive magic to try and help us survive the fight. TLDR, party of all casters ran into a magic-proof fiend. We started screaming and throwing things at him until he was dead. Okay, I mean, the TLDR is pretty much just the punchline to the whole thing. Again, it's just good creative fun, and it's good teamwork, and it's a good way to use all of these abilities in a new creative way. So I think it's awesome, and I think these are really funny. So I'm glad that I'm glad everybody seems to be having fun. You know, that's the point of the game. It's to have some fun. Right, this will be the last one. PantherophisNiger. I like door traps. They're funny. In particular, I have a door trap that consists of a normal door lock, but if the lock is picked or compromised in any way, a small dagger will shoot out of the lock. This can cut up the lock picker's delicate fingers, or even take out an eye. It's a running joke in my campaign that every single dungeon has a dagger lock in the doors. It doesn't matter if it's within the inaccessible vaults of Erebus, or the fabled gatehouse of Shangri-La, or the town hall jail cells. Somebody somewhere has made a goddamn fortune selling these dagger locks to every goddamn dungeon builder ever. But one of my players really hates them, probably because he's a crappy lockpicker and he's been stabbed quite a few times. Incidentally, his character grew up as a street urchin. He has no clear memories of his adolescence or childhood. He gave me permission to do whatever you want with that. Well, tonight they had to meet a shady individual in the abandoned Dagger-Lock Manor. The gatehouse outside this mansion depicted a hand skewered by a dagger. He, of course, forgot to check the door. He, of course, forgot to check the door for locks and got stabbed. Everyone laughed as he realized the significance of Dagger-Lock Manor and the engraving on the door. Upon realizing where he was, he went on a rant. "Fuck this Dagger-Lock guy. Fuck the inventor of this trap. Fuck his family. Fuck his wife's family. Fuck all the gold he made on this. I'm going to get a chronomancer to send me back in time so I can terminate this motherfucker by repeatedly kicking his dad in the nuts. I will raise this manor to the ground and piss on the ashes. Nobody will dare speak the name of the Dagger-Lock family." He cooled down and the party went inside and were given instructions about how to break into the vault belonging to a neuromancer. They were able to find a memory orb of one Dale Dagger-Lock. Later, upon touching this memory orb, Brock was flooded with Brock. Totally should have been Dalek. Yeah, Dalek. Right. Later, upon touching this memory orb, Brock was flooded with the memories of his childhood and his loving father, Dagger-Lock, the inventor of the Dagger-Locks. It was a good night. And there's also a video of the moment.
Dagger-Lock 1. Your memories are flooded with what your childhood was, growing up under your father, Dagger-Lock.
I hate very much the things that I have become.
And I will link that video in the description down below. What an amazing twist. I'm gonna kill you, Brock. I am your father. That doesn't make any sense. This is bound to be probably my favorite one today. To me, I just find that really cool how the DM was actually able to integrate that twist and make it more about the players, which is something that I always really enjoy. I like to see players be creative, but I love to see the DM be creative. So good job. So thank you guys so much for watching. This has been a lot of fun. It's kind of a stress reliever for me personally, just to read some of these fun stories while I'm trying to get on with the homebrew stuff in the background. So if you're enjoying this, please leave a like, maybe subscribe if you haven't already, and consider joining the Discord where you could also submit some of your own stories. And I'll see you next time. Great big thanks to all of my patrons, especially the Dastardly DMs, Whimsical Wisp, and Moxie the Demon.